Hello, I'd like to do a video about parts or the steps of recovery from a narcissistic mother slash aunt or family or parent sibling. Um, One of the big things, the first thing is to acknowledge what has happened to you. All the abuse, all the emotional abuse. If there's physical abuse, they involve that too. Mental abuse, uh, the things that your narcissistic mother attempts to do to try to kill and destroy your self-esteem and your self-worth. You know, think back to those things. Get all those feelings, you know, because those are the things that's held you back. I mean, from the gaslighting, from the saying you're no good, you're a piece of shit, you can't do anything right, you're not capable of being a parent, you're not capable of this, you know, always degrading you. I've been there many times with my narcissistic mother, many times. So, once you get all those feelings, all those things out, because those things is what's held you back, and you gotta get that all out. I mean, if things keep resurfacing, let them. Because you spend all your life stuffing those feelings and don't want to deal with them. But if you really want to heal and you really want to survive, then you have to let all those feelings and all those thoughts resurface so that way you can effectively deal with them, understand it, and deal with it. And once you can come across and knowing that, hey, my mother's a narcissist, and all the reading and all the empowerment that you do for yourself, all the educating of yourself, and then acknowledge, wow, that's happened to me. Okay, now that's happened to me, now what do I do? Like I said, you let all the feelings resurface and deal with it for once and for all. The second thing you do is all the feelings that are resurfacing. There's anger, resentment, um, sadness, worthlessness, feel like you can't do anything right, no matter what you do is not good enough. Those feelings. Get all those feelings out into a journal. And that's one of the things that I have done. And fortunately, I've always loved to write. So I was never afraid to put my feelings on paper, or actually, I put them on my laptop. And I write about my feelings. Whatever it is that comes to mind, I write them down. Um, and that has helped me tremendously. Um, Another thing in recovery, and that is you need to surround yourself around positive people. Find yourself some role models and or mentors. Find people that are really have things happening in their lives, you know, that are moving, that are shaking, really, you know, got their stuff together, you know. And you surround yourself around those people, people that are ambitious, people that are determined, you know, and, you know, find out your, basically also too within that, find what you're good at. And I remember mentioning this in a couple of videos back that I said, find out what you're good at. If you're not sure, take up some hobbies. Um, you know, go back to school. That's another thing. And if you discovered a passion for the medical field, when you gotta decide, okay, well, what part of the medical field do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be a psychologist? Do I want to be a cardiologist? Or, do I want to be a doctor? Or do I want to be a writer? Do I want to be a singing superstar, um, I want to be a writer, whatever it is that you know that you do best, follow that passion. Resurrect your dead dreams and your hopes and bring them to life. And I know it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, for me, I'm very good at a lot of things. I'm good with bowling. I'm good with ice skating. No, I don't do jumps or any type. I don't do axles or any stuff like that. But I'm too old for that. But just the simple gliding across the ice and turning on one foot, which is safe for me, and doing my 1 foot spins forward. Um, and that's as fancy as I'm going to get. But I do pretty good for somebody my age, and I'm 44 years old, and I'm proud of it. Um, I'm very good at the medical field. I'm good at medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology. I'm very detail oriented. I know how to put words together. Um, I'm ambitious, always wanting to learn. Uh, and those are the things that I know that I'm good at. And, as time goes on, I may even shock myself and discover some things that I didn't realize I was good at. So, as you go along your journey, you'll find out what you're good at. And like I said, you take it one step at a time. Put 1 foot in front of you. You take it one day at a time. Um, and once you find out what you're good at, then that turns your focus away from all the negativity because at some point you can't spend your whole life dwelling. I mean, yes, that stuff hurts. I get it, you know, but you have a life to live. You got the rest of your life to do. You want to go on the rest of your life, just keep dwelling on the abuse and keep dwelling on past hurts. I mean, it's okay to, and that's what journaling does. Getting it all out. That is what should help you, and then you won't have any reason to dwell on it. Because if that's all you're gonna do, you're gonna be stuck, and you don't need to be stuck. You want to progress. You want to heal, and above all else, you want to survive. And I declare myself a survivor of narcissistic abuse. And even though I haven't had any of my former family members try to do anything, hey, my guard's always up. But it's always up in the back of my mind. I don't spend 24/7 looking out my window and, checking my phone calls, or I don't sit there and get on social media and check and see what my former family said because I can really care less. To me, they're dead to me, and that's the mentality you're gonna have to have if you ever decide to go no contact with your narcissistic mother and the rest of her group, siblings, or they call them also too a new term I've learned called flying monkeys. You know, and you got to tear yourself all the way, and I know it hurts, but like I also said, don't get stuck on the thing. Well, they're your family, they're your flesh and blood. If you go through that mentality all your life, you're gonna be stuck. Yes, they're your flesh and blood, but they don't love you. They want to destroy you. And do you really, really want that around you? And yes, coming to the reality of other people, complete strangers will always love you more than your family. You know? And that's that's what you gotta focus on. Focus on the good. Focus on making yourself happier, healthier. If there's stuff that you're good at, put all your energies into that. You know? And just focusing on being good to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that because you've been through a lot. Doing those things, you'll also start rediscovering yourself and redefining yourself. And that's what you need to focus on. That's where your energy should be. None of the narcs in your family, they're not worth your energy. You can't spend your life obsessing stuff that you'd like to do. Well, heck, I mean, there's a lot of things I like to do to my narcissistic family, but if I do that, I'm taking away the attention and my energy of making myself a better me. And you can't straddle the fence. You can't straddle the fence between focusing on making yourself a better you and at the same time you want to do something to your narc family. You can't straddle the fence. It's either you do one or you do the other. You can either be stuck or you can be unstuck. The choice is yours. And another thing I've always emphasized too is having a therapist help you sort out your feelings, the feelings you have had, you know, like confidence issues, things that you were going through as you were growing up. Getting all those out into the open with a therapist is good, you know, because, you know, once you do that, you know, and have that therapist help you work through those feelings, you'll feel much better. You know, may not be overnight, but that if a therapist is a good therapist, that therapist will give you some stuff to work on in between sessions, you know. And if a therapist doesn't, then you know you need to go find another therapist. Um, but it's important not just so much getting all your feelings out, but also too one of the key things to learn in therapy also is to learn how to cope. Learn how to cope with now that you're wanting to turn a new leaf, and now that you want to make your life better, and you're trying to rediscover who you are, and getting all those feelings out, let everything resurface. Don't never spend your whole life stuffing down those feelings. You have to let them resurface so you can effectively deal with them through therapy. And once you can effectively deal with them and work through them, then you can put it behind you, because that's what I've done. And each day, you know, each day that comes along, I'm stronger, I'm happier, I'm peaceful. And, you know, that's what you want. And I know as part of recovering, even now, that I have declared myself a survivor of a narcissistic mother slash family. You know, occasionally, and this will happen, and it's just part of it. It's just, I guess you can call it a scar. And sometimes, there's going to be sometimes that's going to be there, and it's okay. No need to freak out, but occasionally you may have a situation or someone says something to you and it kind of triggers something like, why would this person see me as somebody good at this, or why would this person have their confidence in me or confide in me, or some type of trigger that your narcissistic mother put in you. And that comes with, once you see that, then you have to reprogram, acknowledge it by all means first, and then you reprogram it and reprogram your train of thinking, your train of thought. Like, it's in a week myself. I have a coding test that I have to do so I can pass this test, and believe me, I've had some flashbacks and saying, you know what though, what if I don't pass, or I don't think I'll pass, or, you know, and there's gonna be flashbacks. I get those. And you're gonna go through that. And it's okay. You know, it's like you acknowledge it, then now it's time to reprogram it and you say, okay, I'm not gonna let this test intimidate me, you know, and I remind myself, hey, you know, I still know my stuff. All I have to do is brush back in certain areas, brush back up on it, and I'm gonna do my very damn best. And just roll with the punches. And So I'm mentally getting there as far as being ready for this test that I'm going to be taking within about a week and a couple of days from now. There's going to be some things that, I even second guess myself. But once I catch myself second guessing, because I'm more now, even more alert of what I say and what I think. I mean, I may think about it, but then as soon as it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, uh-oh, wait a minute. A narcissistic mother flashback. I was like, I'm not that person anymore. You confront that thought, and he's like, you know what? That thought came from my mother. And I was like, I'm not that. I know what I am. I know what I'm about. It's just a matter of catching yourself in some of the bad uh, ruts that you are in. And as time goes on, once you become stronger and empowered and knowledgeable and strong, and really survived all this, you'll be able to catch some of those old thoughts that try to creep back. And what you do, you just, like I said, you acknowledge it, and now it's time to deal with it. It's like, no, I'm not going there. I know what I'm about. I'm going to do my best, and and if everything turns out to be pretty well, and some things go wrong, I learn from it. And like I said several videos ago, being that mother to yourself, you know, and that way you can sit there and say, okay, it's fine. We'll get them next time. I did this right. It's wonderful, but here's what I need to improve on. Didn't do so well, and just like a couple weeks ago, I went back to figure skating the very first time, and I really wasn't so sure if I can remember how to do my spins. And I got myself to warm up for a while, and I slowly but surely worked myself into my spins. And then I try to do my backward skating and then turning myself from backward to forward. It's like, hey, I could still do this, and then I tried going forward to backward. Okay, cool, I can do this. But where I struggled in doing my 1 foot turns, and I really wasn't feeling confident. But when I left the ice that day, I looked at myself. I said, hey, okay, kiddo, you remembered how 95%, and you did 95% of what you knew how to do out there on that ice. Okay, big deal. You weren't comfortable. You weren't confident in doing those 1 foot spins. I mean, your 1 foot turns. Okay, that's fine. We'll get there. And that's what you gotta say is, hey, we'll get there. No need, no hurry. I ice skate for fun. I don't ice skate to compete. Just like with my bowling, I said, okay, 4 games I average 160 when I'm a 195 caliber way before I got injured and had been away from the lanes for a couple of years. It's like, well, realistically, I can't really pick up where I left off at a 195 average and haven't thrown a bowling ball for 2 years. That would be very unrealistic. So part of it is also to being, when you get those flashbacks, part of it is being patient with yourself and say, okay, I'm not averaging 195, but what the hell is my hurry? Get back to just doing the basics. Do the basics, work your way through. You'll get there before you know it. It's just a lot of constant encouraging yourself, and that's what it takes. Um, you're gonna go through flashbacks. That's normal, you know. And you may go through it for the rest of your life, or maybe for a short period of time. It's just how you deal with it, and it's your perspective. Because you're gonna sometimes have those old thoughts go through your head, but then you'll be smart enough to catch it. And it's just a matter of just reprogramming yourself and saying, nope, that's not what I'm all about. Or, no, okay, I may know how to do most of this, but hey, I'll get there. It's all about not being hard on yourself and being patient with yourself and learning from your mistakes and say, hey, I'm not perfect. And knowing that your narcissistic mother beat that into your head for years and years, wanting you to be perfect, you know, and no matter what you did, it was never good enough. And you gotta reprogram that and say, hey, I am good enough. As long as you know who you truly are inside and you know what you're about, and once you're able to discover who you're really about, it doesn't really matter what other people think of you. It really doesn't, and who cares? All what matters is you care what you think about yourself. And you can do it in a healthy way. I always emphasize healthy. Never want to intend on misleading anybody. Because then you do that, then you take it so far, and if all of a sudden you develop a trait of a narcissist and start saying, oh, I'm the shit, I'm this, and we all know that that's not a healthy way to think highly of yourself. I mean, you can do it in a healthy way, but as long as you don't sit there and compare yourself to others or thinking you're better than anybody, and you can say, hey, I'm just as good as anybody else. And you know what, even when it comes to getting a job. When you get a job, it's all about competition. And some of these jobs require experience, and you know what, you gotta just walk in there and say, you know what, I may have zero experience or some experience, but not what's required. But you know what? I'm just as good as anybody else who has experience, and I can do just as good of a job as they can. You come in with that mentality and that attitude, you'd be surprised you may land a job. So, um, those are the things that has helped me along the way. And I hope that these steps will help you. And if you have any suggestions or anything that you think that I've missed, don't hesitate to include it in the comments below. For right now, I will end this video for now. And as always, I wish you love, peace, happiness, and joy. And above all else, be good to yourself. Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing.